Regan Tetlow and this is Airsports News brought to you by Airsports Promotion. So despite the COVID-19 crisis, we can feel spring in the air. And with warmer weather and blue skies, everyone, of course, wants to fly. And at last, we have some optimistic news. So let's go. Our first good news comes from South Korea. Authorities of the drone racing competition 2020 have decided not to postpone the event planned for the 25th and 26th of May. It will be the first official drone racing event in South Korea this year. Authorities say they made the final decision after giving it a lot of serious thought. The coronavirus situation in Korea is one of the best in the world right now, and all the government limitations have been systematically abolished. All the athletes and spectators will take part in the event under strict security requirements. It will be the second huge drone racing competition held in Bohyun City in South Korea. Pilots will compete during daylight races, but also at night. Also, the organisers of the World Hot Air Balloon Women's Championships in Nowęczów, Poland, do not want to give up. A few days ago, they sent news about keeping the date of the event in mid-August, but they have reorganised the registration process. First round of invitations is closed, but now organisers will have a standby list which will include all pilots who did not make the first round deadline. Then they will open the third round of invitations. On May the 11th, the final go or no-go will be taken by the organisers and the CIA Bureau. Unfortunately, bad news comes to all model aircraft competition fans. Because of the global pandemic of COVID-19, the organising body decided to postpone the 2020 FAI F2 World Championships for controlled line model aircraft. The event has no chance to be held this year, and new dates of 2021 will be decided as soon as possible and after approval by the CIAM Bureau. Control line model aircraft is one of the lesser known, but at the same time, most spectacular modelling air sports. Pilots compete in a huge ring, piloting their airplanes using thin, long wires, approaching speeds of up to 180 miles per hour. Aerobatic pilots have just a small chance of participating in aviation competitions this year. However, most of them do not lose hope. We discussed the present and future of aerobatics with legendary South African pilot Nigel Hopkins.
You've been doing a lot of work, getting people backwards and forwards from the countries, from Germany to South Africa. Can you tell me a bit about that?
Yeah, as the South African Airways as the national carrier, together with the government and various governments around the world, we've been doing repatriation flights to get South Africans home, and quite a few German residents and other nationalities back to their home. So that's been, I did one flight. Unfortunately, we get quarantined for 2 weeks afterwards, so it limits the amount of time that we can fly. But that was a great experience and really enjoyed it.
Yeah, what at the moment, have you been in the air this week?
Nothing. So I've just come out of quarantine. I've spent 2 weeks there and had a week at home.
Yeah.
So at the moment, there's not much happening. And unfortunately, our GA is also grounded. So we're quite frustrated and really wish we could get in the sky. The air shows are cancelled, so the income from that is non-existent. A lot of our sponsors are all, on pause as well, based on the fact that they're not working and that we're not able to do any shows at the moment. So it's great to be able to do some interviews with you and to get a bit of exposure. But, I think it's a tough time for everybody. I just heard that Oshkosh is cancelled as well now. So that really is a big hit, I think, for everybody in aviation.
Have you got any plans for the rest of this year which have still not been affected?
Well, we're not too sure. Our main airshow season, unfortunately, is sort of March through to August. So the bulk of that's going to be lost. We do have some shows, possibly some shows overseas still, if they all happen. But I think looking at the way things are going and looking at the way international travel is going, I doubt much is going to happen before September, October. So even just to get around the world to do any of these shows or to do anything is going to be really tough.
Like we're talking about every week with everybody in air sports, it's being current, isn't it?
It is, absolutely. I mean, it's not just your takeoffs and landings, which is part of the legal requirements, but it's your G tolerance, which is a big thing for us as aerobatic pilots as well. I mean, getting in the airplane and flying shouldn't be too much of a hassle. It's just the fitness. We're doing a lot of off training and a lot of gym work, but until you can get pushing and pulling G, you're just not going to have the G fitness. So that's a real worry.
You can find the full interview with Nigel and all the other Air Sports News interviews on our YouTube channel. The news is not good for airshow fans all over the world. A quick look into the European and global airshows calendar reveals one of the saddest consequences for air sports of this pandemic. All the events in May and June are cancelled. In most of the countries, it's not possible to meet in groups of bigger than 50 people, even after relaxing the restrictions. This leaves the event organisers with little choice. ILA Berlin, Duxford Festival, Farnborough Airshow, the Goodwood Festival and the Royal International Air Tattoo have all been cancelled. Some of the organisers are still waiting with their decision to postpone the events, and only the Victory Day Airshow authorities have made the unexpected decision to keep the date of their event of the 9th of May. There will be no spectators on the airfield in Kubinka in Moscow, and the event will be broadcast live on Russian television. In the United States, air display pilots don't waste their time. Last week, healthcare workers and other essential employees working in the front lines of the coronavirus fight in New York, New Jersey and Pennsylvania were greeted with a booming thank you straight from the air. The Navy's Blue Angels and the Air Force Thunderbirds flew in what is being called a collaborative salute to honour those battling the COVID-19 pandemic. A total of 12 fighter jets streaked over New York City and Newark starting at noon Eastern Time before heading to Trenton, New Jersey and Philadelphia. This week, Air Sports Promotion caught up with world famous base jumper and wingsuit flyer Roberto Mancino. We asked Roberto what is happening right now in the world of base jumping.
Ciao. Are you in Italy right now?
Yes, Italy.
Are you in
Rome.
your hometown? Where are you?
No, I'm not in my hometown because I have to wait until the 4th when we are free again to go and meet my dad there.
How have you felt inside in your head? Have you been okay during this process?
Yeah, I'm not complaining. I'm good, and I think for me it was good time to rest because I've been always traveling so much and doing, jobs and projects and too much training, sometimes very tired, stressful jams with productions there. So I think for me it was good time to take a break.
Have you missed any big projects over the last few weeks? Is there anything which has had to be rescheduled for you?
Yeah, when the virus started, I was a standby for 2 jobs and they got shut down. One, we lost the job just because it was an event and they're not gonna do it again. But the other job is just been postponed. So we're waiting, but we had stuff coming out in the movie theater, stunts that we did for movies, and they are shut down. So we are waiting. I think one is coming out in October, and was supposed to be in May. So we're just waiting, for things that we did before.
Tell me about that role in Iron Man 3. What was that?
Yeah, it was one of the biggest scenes, I believe, in the movies in skydiving, and was the whole Red Bull Air Force, and then myself, and then Sarah Thompson. We had to do different things, different stunts. It was not just skydiving. We needed to crash in the airplane really hard, which was not a real plane, but was inside a studio. And then we needed to do this zip line, very, very tall and very long, where all of us, we are pretending to be in the sky and flying this formation. And then we get dropped into the water.
Have you got projects lined up for the end of the year, for the autumn?
Yes, I have a really big project coming up. I've been talking with, I've been talking with NBC to do it in Paris. I cannot say what it is. It's a secret, but it's going to be cool. It's going to make me do something I never done before. and then it's all exciting, you know, it's gonna be big team working together.
Thanks very much for joining us on Air Sports News, Roberto. It's great to catch up with you after quite a few years.
Thank you very much.
And if you would like to watch the full interview with Roberto, you can find it right now on the Air Sports Promotion YouTube channel. So with almost all passenger aircraft currently grounded, pilots of smaller aircraft are using the free airspace to their advantage. Experimental aircraft are normally prohibited to land on the biggest airports of New York, LaGuardia, JFK and Newark. But in this crisis, there has been a gap and a chance to land there with the tiny RV8 homemade airplane. New Jersey pilot John Weiswasser proved that in these days anything is possible. Newark approved the runway buzzing with a chuckle before handing him off to LaGuardia. There the controller was obliging, but as Weiswasser climbed out he was delivered the bad news that JFK couldn't accommodate him. Weiswasser pressed on and asked for permission himself. He was cleared for the low passover, and with a couple of Boeing 777s in the mix, he had himself quite an adventure. Paragliders involved in the legendary Red Bull X-Alps competition have received a stroke of good luck. Red Bull organises this tough competition once every 2 years, and this year it's the registration year. We caught up with one of the best Polish paragliding pilots, Michał Gerla, who competed in the X-Alps competition a few years ago.
Zawsze to jest 32 miejsca, a aplikujących jest dużo więcej. Organizatorzy nigdy nie podawali, jaka to jest liczba, ale na pewno są to setki osób, które aplikują. Na pewno to wspominam jako swoją największą przygodę w życiu. Ogromny wysiłek. Wielu zawodników na zakończenie mówi, że to był ich ostatni raz, po czym w kolejnym roku aplikują i próbują znowu. I chyba podobnie jest w moim przypadku, chciałbym spróbować swoich sił ponownie. No mega przygoda, no i potwierdzam, jest to jeden z najtrudniejszych wyścigów przygodowych. Wymaga zarówno przygotowania fizycznego, doskonałego przygotowania fizycznego, ale też dużej wiedzy paralotniowej, doskonałej techniki pilotażu, także trzeba być naprawdę dobrym multidyscyplinarnie. Oj, zawodów mi bardzo brakuje, już kolejne edycje są odwoływane, pierwsze Puchary Świata też. Nikt tak naprawdę nie wie, kiedy będziemy mogli wrócić do rywalizacji. Organizatorzy Mistrzostw Europy jeszcze mają nadzieję, że uda im się je rozegrać w lipcu. Ostatni tydzień był naprawdę rewelacyjny w Beskidach, czyli w moich rodzinnych stronach. I lataliśmy z kilku miejscówek, Beskid Wyspowy, ale też okolice Żywka, Góra Żar. Kilka naprawdę fajnych lotów udało się zrobić.
So you won't guess who our hero of the week is this week, because it's not a human. This week we have chosen the historic Hindenburg airship. Exactly 83 years ago, on the 6th of May 1937, one of the biggest aviation disasters took place in the Manchester Township in New Jersey, US. The German passenger airship Hindenburg caught fire and was destroyed during the attempt to dock. A few years before the Second World War, this huge airship made a lot of spectacular passenger flights from Europe to South America and the United States. It could carry up to 70 passengers and travel with amazing speeds of up to 75 nautical miles per hour. It was 245 meters long, and even the biggest modern jets seem ridiculously small compared to the Hindenburg. On this tragic day, 13 passengers and 22 crew members died in flames, but 62 survived. Now let's check out the dates in this week's Hall of Fame. On the 5th of May 1897, Gilbert Savier was born. He was one of the most recognisable French fighter pilots during the First World War. He shot down 15 enemy aircraft and held the title of Fighter Ace. On the 5th of May 1965, Major General Fei Zhulong was born. He flew on the second Chinese manned spaceflight of the Shenzhou program, spending almost 5 days in space. On the 5th of May 1967, famous Polish aviation designer Stefan Gierstik died. His ideas influenced the development of the Polish aviation industry. He was the designer of the PZL-37 bomber aircraft, considered the most beautiful bomber of World War II. Happy birthday to the Swifts, pilots and crew members. This Russian air display team was established on the 6th of May 1991. The team currently performs with 6 MiG-29 fighter jets and is one of the most recognizable display teams in Russia. On the 10th of May 1789, the legendary French balloon pioneer, inventor and pilot Jean-Pierre François Blanchard took off in his balloon for a 45-minute flight over the city of Warsaw. It was the first balloon flight in Poland and probably the highest in those days. Don't forget to write to us. Send your emails to news@airsportspromotion.com with the latest news from your discipline, and we'll share it out to all the thousands of viewers all over the world. So until next week, I'm Regan Tetlow. Stay safe and keep your eyes on the skies.